Hey, in CS 245, we revisit logical connectives such as and, or, and not, and those all make sense, so I'm not going to talk about them. But there's a challenge in translating certain English sentences to logic. There's a few landmines, at least for me. So, I'll give some examples. Whoa. First off, I won't pass unless I study. This means that if I don't study, then I won't pass. And you might be like, yo, wait, what? Because at first I misread it as studying implies passing the course. But if you give it some thought, that's not true. Just because I study doesn't mean that I pass. Unless flips the logic and says, if I don't study, which, if you think about that, this guy's not studying at all. This guy's not studying before class, during class, as a kid, they're not studying. Then it makes sense that they won't pass. Formally, that means not study implies not pass. And by contrapositive, that is pass implies study. So if you ever see an unless sentence show as something like this, pass implies study, it's just because they simplified it. And it's actually not pass. Study implies not pass. And that's what it means to have the word unless. Now, there's this sentence. Getting 100% is sufficient to pass. This is not as confusing, but the word sufficient raises an eyebrow if you haven't seen it before. What does this mean? Well, if you get 100%, then if you think about it, you passed. But if you passed, that doesn't mean you got 100%. So what ChatGPT said is that sufficient means it guarantees the outcome. I don't think that phrasing really helps me, but just think about it that the thing here is actually the thing that's implying the second item. Last but not least, submitting the exam is necessary to pass. So keyword necessary here. So what that is saying is that if you pass, you had to have submitted the final exam. But if you submitted the final exam, it doesn't mean you'll pass. And that also makes sense because I've submitted the final exam before and I haven't passed. So the implication here is that the thing that must have occurred instead of the passing part. But at first glance, you might think it's the other way around.